Sit down. Put the phone face down. What I'm about to say isn't going to feel good, and that's the point. Right now, you are not driving your own life. You think you are. You're not. Your alarm goes off and you snooze it. That's not you. That's a habit. You get a hard task and you find a reason to check your phone instead. That's not you. That's a loop. Somewhere along the way, code got written into your head, and you never signed off on any of it. Here's the sentence you need to sit with. You don't have a motivation problem. You have a programming problem. Every lazy scroll, every All-Start Monday, every time you picked comfort over the thing you actually wanted, none of that was a character flaw. That was training. Something trained your brain to flinch from effort and lean into ease. And here's the good news hiding inside the bad news. Anything that was trained can be retrained. Let's get one thing straight before we go further. Your brain doesn't respond to inspiration. It responds to two things only: pain and purpose. That's it. A quote on your lock screen won't move you. A podcast won't move you. What moves a brain is repetition and consequence. Right now, your brain takes the cheapest exit in every situation. Not because it's broken, because it's efficient. You've spent years rewarding it for taking the easy way out, so it keeps taking the easy way out. It's not betraying you, it's obeying you. It's just been listening to the wrong version of you. So here's where the override starts, and it's smaller than you expect. Stop lying to yourself in small ways. Every time you say "I'll do it later" and don't mean it, you teach your own mind that your word is worthless. And a mind that doesn't trust your word will never follow you into anything hard. New rule, starting today. When you decide something, you move. No internal debate, no waiting to feel ready. Decide, then act. Let the feeling catch up later, because it will. Your mind is going to fight you on this. It's going to throw resistance, irritation, a low hum of, "Why are we doing this?" Good. That discomfort isn't a sign you're doing it wrong. It's a sign the old wiring is getting disconnected. Withdrawal isn't failure. Withdrawal is proof the system is changing. Think of your mind like an employee who's been allowed to slack off for years. Keep coddling it, it stays soft. Hold it to a standard, it sharpens fast. It doesn't need you to feel confident first. It needs you to give it an order. Everyone's waiting to feel confident before they start. That's backwards. Confidence doesn't come before the action. It comes after it. As a receipt, you show up without confidence, again and again, and eventually confidence has no choice but to show up too. Here's an uncomfortable one. If you only do hard things on the days you feel like it, you're going to have an average life, guaranteed. The people who actually get somewhere aren't running on more motivation than you. They're running on less. They stopped asking, "How do I feel about this today?" and started asking, "What needs to happen today?" That's the entire shift. Not a mindset hack. A different question. You don't rise to your ambitions. You sink to whatever systems you've built. So build systems that don't need your mood's permission. Same wake-up time regardless of how you slept. Show up to the work even when you're bored out of your mind. Show up especially when nobody's watching. Because that's the version of you nobody's grading. And that's exactly the version that becomes real. Every time you keep a promise to yourself that nobody else even knows about, something updates quietly in the background. I follow through. I'm not the person who bails. Once that belief actually sets in, everything downstream gets easier. Not because life got softer, but because you stop being afraid of it. Now let's talk about what's feeding the old programming, because it's not just willpower, it's your environment. Your phone is quietly training your attention span down to nothing. Your sleep schedule is training your mood. What you eat is training your energy. If you're not controlling the inputs, don't be surprised the outputs are a mess. You cannot doom scroll for 3 hours and expect a sharp mind afterward. You cannot run on 4 hours of chaotic sleep and expect discipline to show up on command. Get brutal with the basics. Mute what doesn't need your attention. Cut the noise and let yourself get bored on purpose. Boredom isn't the enemy here. Boredom is the on-ramp to focus. A brain that's constantly fed novelty stays scattered. A brain that's allowed to sit in quiet eventually starts generating its own ideas, and that's when real focus shows up. To be clear, this isn't about turning into a robot. You'll still feel fear, You'll still feel doubt on a Tuesday afternoon for no reason. The goal was never to stop feeling things. The goal is to stop taking orders from them. That's the actual line between the people who get where they're going and the people who don't. 1 hour of this isn't going to rewrite your life, but it can plant the first version of a new identity, if you let it. If you start acting before you feel like it. If you start keeping the small promises you make to yourself. If you stop negotiating with the version of you that wants the easy way out. The shift happens. Not overnight, but it becomes inevitable. Eventually you stop needing hype to get moving. You stop needing anyone's approval to know you did the work. You just move, quietly, consistently, and one day you look up and realize the world around you didn't change. You did. Here's the deeper truth underneath all of it, though. You keep thinking the problem is discipline. It's not. Discipline is just a symptom. The real issue sits one layer down. It's identity. You don't act like the person you want to be yet, because some part of your brain is still convinced you're the old version of you. And your brain will defend that old identity, even the tired, distracted, stuck version, simply because it's familiar. Your mind doesn't actually care what you dream about. It cares about what you repeat. Whatever you do consistently, it quietly files under "this is who we are." That's why change stings a little. You're not just building a new habit, you're contradicting an old identity. So here's the real move. Stop trying to overhaul your whole life in one shot. Start collecting small, undeniable proof for your own brain instead. Not big declarations, quiet evidence. You can say, "I'm disciplined all day." Your brain doesn't care about the sentence. Every action you take is basically a vote for who you are becoming. Hit snooze and bail on the plan. That's a vote for the old you. Skip the thing you said you'd do. Another vote for the old you. Reach for comfort every time it's offered. Vote, 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 and then you wonder why you still feel stuck. Flip it around. Get up on the hard morning. Vote for the new you. Do the task you've been avoiding. Vote. Stay quiet instead of chasing validation. Vote. Stack enough of those votes, and the identity actually flips underneath you. Not through some big dramatic moment, through repetition nobody sees. One more myth worth killing. The idea that calm, capable people were just born wired that way. They weren't. They're calm because they've already been through enough chaos that chaos stopped being a novelty. Their nervous system got trained, the same way yours can. Feeling anxious doesn't mean something's wrong with you. It usually just means you haven't been tested enough yet for your system to build tolerance. Comfort keeps a mind soft. A bit of real, controlled pressure is what sharpens it. So instead of avoiding the hard thing, walk toward it on purpose. Push through the workout when you're tired. Think clearly when you're overwhelmed. Make the decision even when you're scared. That's how fear slowly loses its grip on the decision-making. And here's the trade nobody tells you about. Whatever discomfort you dodge today doesn't disappear. It just compounds and shows up later, bigger. Discipline at its core is just choosing which pain you'd rather deal with now. Let's talk about focus for a second, because this is where most people quietly lose the whole game. Your focus isn't weak because something's wrong with you. It's weak because your attention has been overfed. Constant clips, constant noise, constant quick hits of stimulation. So the moment real, slow work shows up, it feels unbearable by comparison. That's not laziness, that's a mind coming off sugar. The fix isn't complicated. It's just uncomfortable. Sit in one task, no music, no phone, no easy exit. Your mind is going to itch for a distraction almost immediately. Let it itch. That itch fading over time is what focus actually being rebuilt feels like. Most people bail right there the second it gets uncomfortable. You don't have to be most people. Nobody who's actually built something significant was constantly entertained while they built it. They were just constantly present. And presence, real presence, is a little bit lonely. You might feel a step removed from people around you for a while. That's not a warning sign. That's usually just what growth feels like from the inside. You don't need to be the loudest person in the room to prove any of this. The people who actually move the needle tend to move quietly. They don't narrate their goals to everyone. They don't need an audience to keep a promise to themselves. They just let the results speak whenever they're ready to. And watch your ego here, because it'll try to hijack the whole process. Ego wants an audience. Ego wants credit. Ego wants the story told before the work is even done. The moment you stop needing anyone to notice, you become almost impossible to manipulate, because there's nothing left to dangle in front of you. So here's the whole thing boiled down. Stop negotiating with your own mind and start directing it. Stop waiting to feel ready and start acting your way into readiness. Stop chasing motivation and start stacking momentum, one small kept promise at a time. Do that consistently and you'll notice it shows up everywhere. Better sleep, sharper focus, a calmer voice, a heavier presence in the room. Not because you got louder, because you got grounded. There's no shortcut hiding at the end of this. It's just quiet repetition, applied with patience, over time. Give this the next hour of your attention, and I'm not going to promise you motivation. That fades by tomorrow anyway. I'm promising you something that lasts longer than motivation ever does. Clarity. And once that clicks into place, it's genuinely hard to go back to the version of you that came in.